This is what applause sounded like for most of my life. Success in a concert hall. What you just heard wasn't just music, it was my entire world. For as long as I can remember, I have introduced myself to the world as a professional flutist. In classical music, success is measured by perfection. Similar to being a professional athlete, the competition is relentless, the margin for error is razor thin, and the training consumes your entire life. So I grew up believing that being worthy meant being flawless, that to matter, I had to win. I had dedicated so much of my time and energy into perfecting my craft that by age 25, I achieved my dream, playing with the San Francisco Symphony, one of the top orchestras in the world. I remember standing on stage, looking out into the audience, thinking to myself, wow, I had finally made it. But imagine chasing a dream your entire life, only to wake up one day realizing that you've lost the one thing that defined you. When my applause stopped, I had to ask myself a terrifying question. Who am I when no one is clapping? Let me take you to the beginning of my story when I was 21, when my most trusted partner, my own brain, malfunctioned. Suddenly, simple tasks such as turning a doorknob became difficult. Objects would slip through my fingers. Holding a pencil became shaky until writing my name became impossible. I bounced from doctor to doctor who misdiagnosed me with everything from early onset Parkinson's to seizures. And I will never forget this one well-known neurologist. He studied my brain scans and said, you know, maybe it's anxiety. Maybe it's just in your head. Trust me, it takes a lifetime to get past someone suggesting you are crazy. When someone of power tells you that your suffering is not real, you start to question yourself. You start to feel really small, even invisible. I spent the next year traveling the world to see movement disorder specialists, and finally, I got a diagnosis, something called dystonia, a rare neurological movement disorder that overrides your motor control. Picture driving a car and 3 other people grab your steering wheel. One pulls left, one pulls right, and the third one slams on your brakes. The result is total chaos. And that's what was happening inside my brain. A 0.02% chance of diagnosis. A diagnosis that would have no cure, no comeback, so I was told. Suddenly, I didn't matter anymore, because in the world we live in, success is celebrated and trauma is silenced. As I struggled to accept my new reality, I kept asking myself, why me? How did I get this unlucky? So I lost my career, but I didn't lose determination. Some might call it stubbornness. But giving up was just not an option. If doctors could not figure out how to fix my brain, I would find my own cure. How do you do that? That's a good question. I didn't know yet. So I essentially became obsessed with everything related to the brain. I studied psychology, I studied neuroscience, I read every book I could find on the brain. And I ended up becoming so obsessed with how our brain controls movement, something that most of us never stop to think about. So if you would try something with me, let's hold out our hand in front of us, palm facing up. Now let's make a fist. We're going to slowly open and close our hands. Keeping the fist, we are going to count till 5, lifting only one finger at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. You didn't think about how to do that. Your brain just knew. Now, level 2. Let's do this with our foot. We're going to curl our toes and press them down. Open and release. Now press your toes down again. And we're going to do the same thing. Count till 5, lifting only one toe at a time. Ready? 1, 2, not 4, 2, 3. Right now, all the overachievers in the room are thinking, I'm going to go home tonight and practice this. And if we weren't all wearing shoes today, we would be sneaking looks at your neighbor's toes to see if they could do it. Because subconsciously, we hunt for proof that we are not alone. So when most people want to move, they think it, neurons spark, and movement happens. My brain stopped doing that at 21. So I would stand in front of the mirror for hours a day, staring at my hand, begging a finger to lift. No spark, no signal. How do I move? Why don't I remember how? Frustration, desperation, tears, and repeat. I did this for the following 3 years, every single day. And seemingly with no improvement, very little improvement, if any. But somehow over time, through persistence and patience, my brain started sending those signals again. And somehow I retrained my brain to fire those neurons again. Through something called neuroplasticity, our brain's remarkable ability to heal, adapt, and form new connections. It's how stroke survivors learn to walk again, how we break habits and learn new ones. And I am so happy and humbled to be standing here today sharing with you that I made a full recovery. I recovered from a disorder that was considered incurable. And after all these uphill battles, that's when I got to stand on stage with the San Francisco Symphony. And it felt like I thought I had achieved my dream. And that could have been the end of my story. But it wasn't. Because after all I had gone through, the isolation, the relearning, the rebuilding, it changed something in me. Applause no longer sounded like validation. Instead, it became an invitation to do something more with my story. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to help people feel seen. So I walked away from the stage, and the search for a new journey led me into health tech, where I now get to design and research tools that make people's lives happier. I shared my story online as a lighthouse, and hundreds of people with chronic invisible disorders reached out. And every year, I receive a Christmas card from a woman who spent 9 years in a wheelchair. She writes that my story helped her keep going, and today she walks. Not because of me, but because hope made the next step worth taking. And it's stories like hers that make me feel like I'm not alone. And yet, there's still moments when I feel it. Just last year, I was at a coffee shop, met some guy, and he said, "Hey, what do you do?" I hesitated. I didn't know how to answer. I was in between careers, no job title, no fancy concert to point to. And I remember how quickly he lost interest. It felt like without a title, I became invisible again. And it made me realize the world doesn't just celebrate success, but it assigns your worth to it. So let me ask you this. What makes something worth doing? Is it only worth it if somebody applauds, if somebody notices? Think about a time where you did something kind. You gave up your seat or you helped a stranger, and they didn't say thank you. Maybe they were even rude. Why does doing the right thing then feel less good when nobody applauded you for it? It's because we are conditioned to tie our worth to external validation. But when people stop clapping for you, you have to face the silence. And that's when silence becomes dangerous. Silence can tell you lies, that you are not loved, that you are alone, that you are not good enough, that you can't do it. And those lies, they wear you down until survival replaces living. And I spent a long time in that space just getting by. Until I finally learned that the only applause that matters is the one that I give myself for showing up. Resilience isn't always loud. It doesn't come with a trophy. It's certainly not inspiring in real time. Sometimes it's just waking up and trying again, trusting that the foundation you have built from grief, growth, and grit will carry you forward and hold you up. Take a look around the room. There's quiet battles in every single row. But you don't have to be visible to be valuable. So when the world tries to define success for you, remember that you get to decide what success means, you get to name your own worth, and you get to keep every ounce of strength that you have earned along the way. Thank you.